We say it all the time here at Active Self-Protection. Good people must always follow the rules of firearm safety. The Mantis X firearms training system attaches to any gun with a rail and to your phone via Bluetooth to track barrel movement every shot you take. Use it to help you be the most accurate, fastest shot you possibly can in a defensive encounter. I use it in my training all the time. Hi everyone, this is John with today's Active Self-Protection lesson out of Wichita, Kansas. This one is a badge cam for a ex-now Wichita police officer that's going to show us some important lessons, but the audio especially is a little hard to listen to. The news story that's linked in the description said these officers are called to this house because a man was a danger to himself and his wife called to get him some help, and that there was apparently a firearm in the house and he was threatening to hurt himself. So that's why they're going into the house here. There's some significant audio that we want to listen in on, and then we'll come back and learn lessons after it's done.
Hey, okay, what's going on? Okay, got a dog inside here too. Whoa, whoa! Whoa! Get out! Get back! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! That's right. That dog came and attacked me.
I can't hear you guys. What just happened?
Dog inside. Attacked it. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Step out of the house and clear the dogs in this back window. Step on out. Clear the house.
All right, we're coming out. Coming out.
You guys copy? Step out of the house. The dogs in the bedroom. Dispatch. Start me one or two more.
What are you doing here?
We're fine. The discharge on an animal attacked the dog.
All right. You got EMS en route? Get off the air. I'm not on that. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Go ahead and start me in EMS when the kids are hit. I'm 39.
Serious stuff, and amazing how fast it happens. I got a poll question for you out of this one. Given how fast everything happened, do you think the officers firing was the right thing here, or should they have gone even further and actually charged him for reckless discharge? Hit that poll and let me know what you think. I'll tell you what I think in a little while. I want to think about some significant lessons out of this one. Among those, the importance, the fundamental importance of marksmanship, about following the rules of firearm safety and knowing your target and what lies beyond it, and why I always say that self-defenders of all stripes should have first aid skills and equipment. Of course, terrible stuff all the way around, but these officers are doing their job at this point. They're going in to see what the heck is going on. Now, whether you have a pistol-mounted light or whatever, and for officers, I think that's a must, having a handheld light, incredibly important so you can see what's going on around you and not point your firearm at it. I think that's incredibly significant. Now, as the officer's coming back around here, he saw that dog earlier, and now all of a sudden the dog comes up and at him. Now, when we stop it here, we might say, well, the dog's tail's down and those kind of things, but I don't blame him for the fact that he is, scared to death of this dog coming at him in an aggressive manner. I totally get that. However, this light coming out is his pistol-mounted light, and you got to recognize that you have to follow the rules of firearm safety at all times, and that's an incredibly small window that he has here, the angle between the dog and the little girl, which is why I say having other tools available to you, having the ability to knock that dog off you and then get another shot at it is incredibly important, whether that's whatever kind of tool it is. Now, you notice here 2 shots that he took, and now you can see that the dog has moved and the officer has moved with him, and so his line of fire is directly into this little girl. And here we want to talk about marksmanship. Here's the stark reality, friends. If he'd put both those shots in that dog, we wouldn't have that problem because it would have stopped in the dog. Over penetration in reality is almost never an issue, but missing is. And if his marksmanship had been strong and put those in that dog, we would be having a problem of traumatized kids who were there when the gunshots went off, and not a little girl who took ricochet and took pieces of a bullet that actually didn't go in her eye but went into her forehead right above her eye. And so marksmanship, incredibly significant, and those rules of firearm safety again, knowing what your target is and what lies beyond it. Not so that if it passes through, but when you miss. And it didn't incapacitate the threat either. The only reason this dog went away is because he wanted to go away. He was scared. Now, I think where this officer got into big trouble, probably what got him fired, is his lack of empathy. You notice this little girl goes running off screaming, and the officer just kind of stands around. Now, I don't know if he's shocked or whatever, but friends, if somebody gets hurt in your vicinity, especially somebody who was not a target, somebody who was not a threat to you, you got to go and help them. You got to be the concerned person, especially as a law enforcement officer, in my opinion. But any good person would go and try to help this little girl and say, oh my gosh, what's going on? And him standing around here and kind of just, oh, whatever, what's going on? Oh, nothing, I don't know, is probably what did him in as much as anything else. And as a person, we have to have empathy. We have to do better than that. We have to care for our fellow person, especially a little girl like this. And then finally, friends, I want to talk about first aid skills. The fact that these officers are waiting for EMS rather than, hey, let's assess what's going on. Let's get some gloves on. Let's get our first aid kit out. Let's see if we can stop some bleeding. Make sure this little girl's okay. And because that wasn't going on, that's leading to problems as well. So I can't tell you enough. Keep your first aid kit on you. Keep those gloves with you. Keep those skills sharp so that God forbid something bad happens like this, you can be part of the solution and seen as a good person and not end up in the situation that this officer did.